Something that happens to you after a while of playing as a Spear of the Church is you start to recognize the same players, either being summoned as phantoms or just continuously running through, trying to do the fight one-on-one. This is one of those players. As you can see, he is well outfitted for PvP. He's wearing full lap set and has a dark infused herald. Pretty meta stuff. Of course, not that there's anything wrong with that. You can be as meta as you want, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is, I respect people who wanna who wanna have weapons that do damage. But yeah, this guy's pretty damn good. I recognize him because he's one of the few players I had died to in this session, and he kicked my ass pretty much single-handedly with the spear. And by the spear I mean literally just the Lothric War Banner. He used that to buff all the other phantoms in the party, and then proceeded to just outspace all of my attacks with that damn spear. So when I saw in this particular session that it was him, I got pretty nervous. I was like, oh shit, I really need to beat this guy. He's giving me the justified L1 taunts, and he almost gets me here. If he hadn't gotten stunned at the last second by that spear AoE thing, I don't know what it's called, was it the spear shard? He probably would have been able to backstab me. But yeah, very good player. Usually he's like the white phantom with the spear, and just kind of a terror. Spears and other ranged weapons are great weapons to use for this fight, because you can't really outpoise the boss. They have all these poise buffs and stuff like that. So something with range is a great way to constantly outspace the spear, and never really give him a chance to force you to make bad trades. Here he runs into an unfortunate mistake and just gets trapped by the spinny boy, which is pretty fortunate for me because he probably would have won this fight. So here's God Warrior again, putting his summon sign down, being summoned for these fights. Unfortunately, this host has the worst setup going. Probably never upgraded that shield and dies in 5 seconds. It's a shame that there's no way in these games to tell the person that you're trying to help out as a summon that your setup is garbage. Please, for the love of God, don't use a two-handed weapon as a one-handed weapon and just block all of the spear's attacks. Please, for the love of God. Hopefully From adds that as an emote for the next game. The other kind of person you see around a lot for these fights is the guy who's never played PvP in this game, which is nothing wrong with that. I didn't know for the longest time these games even had PvP, but just you can clearly see they don't know quite what they're doing. They're going to swing directly into hyper armor, and they're not going to reaction roll ultra greatsword attacks. But you feel a little bit bad for them, but what are you going to do? The only problem with these PvE only players is that you end up seeing them a ton because they can't beat any of the spears, or they just keep running into you over and over again. And I'm not just gonna roll over and be like, oh, it's okay, you can kill me. But I am gonna try to teach them some stuff proper spacing when trying to get a heal. Maybe some stuff about hyper armor. And hopefully they just either turn the game offline or find a spear who really doesn't know what they're doing either. Let's look at these painting guardians just spinning all over the place with their banana blades. Last thing I commonly see a ton invading as a spear is squads of phantoms who, the phantom clearly dragged the host through the entire game, and the moment you leave the host to do anything, they'll probably die or do something pretty stupid, like a jumping attack into an ultra greatsword. These squads are still pretty fun to deal with because usually the phantom is pretty talented, doing a Hornet Ring backstab on the painting guardian there. They know at least something's up. They know how to use they know how to properly get backstabs, and they know how to use the Hornet Ring. In terms of my tactics when fighting these kinds of fights, I'm always a little, I don't know if I'm too critical or I'm just over evaluating things, but I don't know if I think I get a little bit of tunnel vision with trying to finish phantoms off, which is what I want to do. Right here, right? Once I've finished the phantom off, the host is now at a huge disadvantage. They cannot pressure me to the extent that they can anymore. I still have all the buffs from there being a Phantom or two in the world. Even with all of his L1 waggles, he's not gonna deny the fact that now I'm putting on a buff that he can't challenge. He can't pressure me out of that buff. So I'm a little worried that I can sometimes get tunnel vision when chasing down Phantoms. But just the benefits of taking out a Phantom are so great for spears, especially just like for the buffs that you get to retain. It's just a matter of like whether or not you think it's worth it. Like if you take too much damage taking out one Phantom, was that really worth it? Especially in a fight where you have a very limited health pool as a spear. Anyways, this host either thought he was dead or just gives up right here, which kind of is a trend for him when I encounter him in other fights later. So like 5 minutes later, here's the same host with the same Phantom. This actually ends up being a much more interesting fight in terms of like what I'm doing with the Phantom, who's really not a bad player. He gets me with a couple pretty good hits, a couple pretty good moves like this sweet ass Horn of Ring backstab right here. So he's really not a bad player. He's not like some godlike Evo ready player, quote unquote. But he's pretty good. I had a lot of fun fighting this guy. This fight was really fun for me because I love getting to fight other Ultra Greatsword users. You kind of use your giant weapon to try to trap people into making bad rolls or panic rolling and all of that. But other Ultra Greatsword users don't usually fall for that kind of stuff because they know what you're trying to do. So it's just like it turns into this game of both players trying to get the other to fall into their traps, and I just love those kind of head games like that. The Phantom here is actually doing a dumb thing, but in a good way. Usually it's a really terrible idea just to run straight away from a big Ultra Greatsword like this, because the running attack can almost always chase you down. That's what I'm trying to do. But they're doing it in a good way, as in they're zigzagging. They're using a serpentine formation to try to get away from that, which is kind of what you have to do in order not to get chased down with it. Even when I kill him here, like it all kind of surprised me. Like all of a sudden, like, oh, that's all your health. And the host is kind of a total coward here. Just bitches out the moment his Phantom goes down. So I give him the point down. Just like fight back. Just at least try. That's all I ask, is just try to fight back. Point down is a pretty cringy gesture. I'm kind of cringing now that I used it. But however, upon doing that, when I re-invaded these guys, I was like, oh shit! Like now I gotta put my money where my mouth is. Like I pointed down at these guys, and if I die to this gank with an extra Phantom, they are 100% gonna point down my corpse, and I will have absolutely deserved it. So now the pressure is on to perform and to do my duty as a Spear of the Church. So they're getting me pretty good, which makes me a little nervous. And in these kind of situations, I tend to play pretty defensively around the Guardian. Because that is my only ally that can also heal me and put out some decent damage, especially with this many Phantoms in the world. So I gotta defend them. Also, how did they not see me healing right here? I mean, obviously this white did and gets me with a Horn of Ring backstab that does 5 damage. But yeah, so I basically go and try to protect the Guardian until I can get my health back to a normal level, and then I'm out to just chase down this caster, because the caster in a spear fight is just incredibly dangerous to you, as is any other sort of ranged weapon. But now, of course, the white has made the worst mistake of all, which is expecting the host to be able to fight anything at all. I turn my back for 1 minute, and the host gets absolutely banana bladed to death. Well, anyways, that's it for me. Thanks for watching, guys.